Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Cindy and I are here tonight talking about how to pack in a carry-on. And there's a lot of reasons for doing this. I'll share a quick tip. When I was heading to Italy for the first time with my husband, I wanted to take my camera, an extra camera, my laptop, and I knew we were going to do some hiking in the little villages, and I knew we would be doing everything by public transportation, trains and the bus from the airport and the Vaporetto in Venice. And I was like, it's got to all be manageable by me, though. We made a pact, like, I'm not helping you, so you take what you want, but you got to be able to maneuver it. And same with me. And it's kind of freeing when you realize you can
Right.
enjoy a few full 2 or 3 weeks with less stuff, and it's a lot easier to deal with.
Well, and when you're trying to find your stuff in your suitcase and you're digging through piles of things that you didn't even need or you're never going to wear,
Yeah.
like it's a mess. It's a lot to work with. So the less you can have, it's freeing, it's light, it makes you mobile, you save money. There's so many reasons to try to minimize it. I mean, if you can't do it on a carry-on, even smaller bags are still better, regardless of what you're
Right.
doing. The smaller, the better for all of the reasons that we said, for cost reasons, for maneuverability reasons. So just some things. We'll start with the first thing is buy the right bag. So start there. You need to check and make sure that your bag fits the carry-on limits, which
Check.
unfortunately
Yeah.
change from airline to airline, and it can be inches or weight, and they're all a little different, especially when flying internationally, right? So you really
Right.
need to double check. I know on my international trip to Vietnam, I flew two airlines, different airlines, and one domestic airline. So I needed to check all of those to make sure I knew that and understood what my rules and regulations were going to be. So it's weight and size, and dimensions will matter, especially on smaller flights, because they put those dimensions to fit in that overhead. And if it
Yep.
won't fit or slide under the seat, they're going to take your bag and check it, which either will charge you or cause you an inconvenience. So always double check that, right? That's
Yeah,
so
it's
important.
very important to go to the airline site, check it, maybe even check the flight you're on, even domestically, because some things I know with the camera gear, especially, if you think you're going to put it in a regular size carry-on that would fit on their regular flights, you get on what I call those commuter
Yes.
Barbie size
Barbie plane,
airplane, the Barbie
exactly.
plane. They're going to make you gate check it, but when they gate check, they specify none of the lithium batteries, which all of your cameras have the
Yes.
digital cameras have lithium batteries. So I have found myself the first time it happened literally opening up a bag and trying to move stuff and have a little like stuff it in my backpack so that it would fit. So be prepared. At that point on, I knew like just keep all the lithium batteries in a separate baggie and put them in the backpack so that if I gate check and it has to go under the plane, I've
You're
already got
good.
those batteries and I'm good. Yeah.
And check and see what your plane is, right? Like make sure you know. So that's the first thing. And someone, they tell you um, you'll pack enough to fit the bag. So if
Right.
you have a big bag, I promise you're going to fill it. The same thing goes with everything from toiletries bags to everything else. So if you're trying to pack light, buy a smaller bag. If you're trying, buy a smaller toiletries bag, buy a smaller bags to put your things in so that you are limited to what you can put in. And you'll find you can do it a lot easier. You don't want to have all that extra space, and get the right bag that fits in, that you can hold. Pay attention to that. I know we have a note here to practice carrying your bag.
I
I think that's
agree.
really important. Put some stuff in it and see how it feels. Can you maneuver with it?
Even with your camera gear, I know
Yes.
that's one thing that it's always super important, but literally once you start filling your backpack, because that's most likely where you're going to want to have your camera gear is closest to you, those are your
Right.
most valuable things. Pick up the bag. If it's really hard for you to carry it, look at your lenses, look at your gear, and make some hard decisions. How often are you going to use X lens? What kind of photography are you really going to do? And you have to be brutal. You have to
Yeah.
make some hard choices. But same with liquid limits. Check the liquid
Right.
limits. There's no reason, again, you can to buy a full size shampoo. You can, think about the things that, you can always pick up if you need to. If you have a favorite shampoo, find a little container and fill it up.
Yep.
Cindy and I talked about this earlier. We're always collecting the
Yes.
little containers because recycle them and keep everything small.
Yep. I mean, I've got a box of containers that I just kind of throw things in there. Sometimes I buy something just because it has a cool container, and I'm going to be able to use it. But and this is not just in toiletries. Sometimes in the kitchen, like I'm in the kitchen and I have a little tiny container that something came in, and I'll look at that before I toss it. It's like, should I hold on to this? Does it
Right.
seal really well? Is it small? What could I put in it? I don't know what I put in it. Go in the box, because when I have to pack, who knows what you're going to need. But definitely check your liquid limit if you're trying to do carry on. So if you don't want to check it, there are going to be limits too. So that's another thing to check on the airline website,
Right.
depending on what the rules are and what the regulations of what you're allowed to bring. Like, you're not going to be allowed to bring lighters and aerosol cans. That's not coming on your carry on. So if there are some of those things that you have to bring, you will likely still have to check your bag.
Right.
But
Or think
checking your bag
about
isn't the world either.
right.
It's
Or
about minimizing, right?
right. It's about minimizing and think about where you're actually going. I mean, if you're going somewhere, my first time to Europe, it was so exciting. I get off the plane and there was like a whole Boots drugstore there that had everything. And I'm like, shoot, in the future, I could just bring the bare minimum and pick up my lotion, my shampoo.
Right.
Why have to deal with it, spilling in my bag? I can just pick it up here and get what I need and move on. Same with, like you said, aerosols, especially if you're someone that thinks you need an aerosol or a lighter, pick it up when you get there and just know ahead of time. That's that pre-research. Where's your hotel? Where's your first lodging? Unless you're going out into the wilds and there may not be somewhere, then you may have to make different decisions.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point. We talked earlier about making sure you think about what kind of trip you're going on so that you pack appropriately. And sometimes, the trip, if you're a photographer, or if you're going hiking, or we talked about weather, if it's going to be cold, like my trip to Iceland,
Yeah.
you're going to need gear that you maybe don't need at home. So that is also kind of a first thing. Check what kind of in your head, what kind of trip you're having, what kind of experience you want, and that'll prioritize what you have to pack and what you don't need to pack. Definitely, focusing on, your photography gear and minimizing that, or your hiking gear and minimizing that. What do you really need if this is what you're doing?
Right. Exactly. That's really the why. What kind of trip, what's the purpose and what's that? We talked about that most important thing and then like the just in case things, but
Yeah.
really the focus needs to be on making space for the things that honestly are most important to you. If you're going to Iceland or you're going to Alaska and it's going to be chilly, you're going to want hiking boots. You're going to
Right.
need to put those on your feet. I know we said this too before we jumped on and went live. Wear the heaviest things.
Yes, wear it all.
I mean, some people think, oh, but then I have to unlace those hiking boots. I'll wear the slip-ons. And I've told
Better.
so many people, I'm like, you know what? How much you just took up half your suitcase with your hiking boots. If you just wear the hiking boots and deal with the 5 minutes, 6 extra minutes at the airport of bending down and unlacing them and then walking to a bench after you get through the security and taking care of it. Now you have all that extra room in your suitcase so you can have the slip-on shoes and your extra hat or jacket or
Or
whatever
whatever.
else needs
And
to
the
be in
weight
there.
of those boots and all of that. And sometimes I wear, I bring boots, like if I'm going to go, not hiking boots, but I might bring dress boots because
Yes,
I need boots. I'm going to New York or someplace where I'm going to
right.
want to walk in boots. And those, of course, are the largest, heaviest things to stuff in your bag. So I do wear them. I also carry a pair of fuzzy socks. So because when I get on the plane, I don't want to be in these big, heavy boots that are uncomfortable. So I'm no bare feet on the airplane, guys. Please don't be
Oh
that
yeah,
guy
please
or
don't be
gal.
that
Don't
person.
don't do that. So I bring a pair of, slippers, or little socks so that I can, pull them off and, and I don't have my stinky socks, right? I just put my nice fuzzy ones on, and that's when I sit on the plane or on the train or even at the airport. If I'm there for a couple of hours and I have to wait, I'll put my fuzzy socks on
Yeah.
and just kind of sit around. But be mindful that if you get up and walk to the restroom on the plane or anywhere else, always wear your shoes.
Yes.
The floor is not clean and or sanitary. It's probably not even sanitary where you're sitting. So those socks have to be cleaned. But I definitely wear my boots and then wear fuzzy socks to be comfortable, because the saving in my suitcase is by far worth that.
Right. And it's the same with your jacket. I mean,
Yes.
oftentimes, I'm leaving LA and it's warm, but I'm going to go up to Alaska.
Hmm.
I just have the jacket because again, you can wear that through the security,
Yes.
and half the time the plane is frigid cold anyways. But then, that way I have it, it's not taking up that space in my luggage.
And you
And
may look ridiculous getting on the plane in LA where it's
right.
82 degrees and I'm wearing a winter coat and a scarf and I've got a hat in my pocket. But I'm going somewhere to Iceland and it's going to be cold. And, they don't have a problem with you when you get on the
No.
plane, putting your suitcase in the overhead and then folding up your jacket and stuffing it, because you don't have to
Right.
carry it and or wear it once you get past
Right.
security. You just have to get past security. Sometimes you have to be a little cautious of how many bags you have when you board the plane. They're a little
Yes.
the visual of that. So you might have to put the jacket on to board the plane, but they're never going to tell you to take your jacket off when you're walking on the plane.
Right.
So you can put it all on.
Yeah, exactly.
And they do those little spoofs where people, they wear all their clothes and they try, but I mean, do that. Put on the sweater, the bulky sweater. That's what I did. There was a bulky sweater I wanted to bring. I wore it on the plane. The jacket, I wore it on the plane. That stuff doesn't get put in my suitcase. I wear it, then I take it off when I get on the plane and
Yes.
stuff it in the overhead or shove it
Right.
into the seat. So
Same
much
with it,
easier.
right. And by the time you're on the plane, when you're deep planing, they're not as you're taking you and if you're just carrying the coat over your arm
Right.
or the sweater at that point, that's fine. But yes, you have to wear it to get through security, and that visual is very important. I've seen many times the gate agents do. If you're carrying a lot of extra stuff, they're like, no, no, you got to condense. So yeah, you
Yeah.
you have those few minutes where you might be uncomfortable getting
Yep.
on the plane, but darn it, once you're on the plane, just shove it. I've even shoved it underneath the seat or used it
Yes.
behind my head, but
Yeah.
so
It's a nice
worth all the
blanket or
extra.
pillow
Yeah,
too.
exactly. So much room saved.
And then the other thing is, if you're trying to pack light, be prepared to do laundry if you're staying longer than 4 or 5 days. So, I mean, if you're not willing to do laundry, you're not going to pack light. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to wash out the underwear and the socks, because you can't bring 14 pairs. Like, that's crazy. Bring 4 or 5 and wash as you go. You can bring 5 or 6 maybe, but you're not, 14 is craziness. Most hotels will have a laundry service. So if you're at a very nice hotel, they'll come get it. It's a little pricier, but most places will also tell you where there's a laundromat around the corner. The mid-class level hotels typically have a washing machine on site that you can use. So I often, just grab a few things and go wash them. I planned, when I get here, I'm going to wash a load of things. Be prepared to rewear your things. Like you said, April,
Oh
how
yeah.
dirty are we really getting, right? I mean, unless
Right.
sweating to death, you can rewear that shirt.
Or the jeans. It's a
Yes,
lot of things that can be reworn. If you spill something, when you get back to your hotel that evening, clean it up, wash it off, wash it out.
yeah,
But kind of using that whole mantra of like, be prepared to do some laundry and keep in mind too, I always tend to pick a color palette. I
yes,
know a lot of people that go with me in the fall, they notice that I'm always picking orange and brown. That's like my
right.
color palette for the fall. And everything, yeah, just works around those colors. That's it. It makes it simple. I only pack things that are going to work together that way, and it eliminates the whole kind of keeping it simple. You got to keep it simple to pack
Mhm.
light and have
Yes,
the things, as we mentioned earlier on this, that mean the most, which
that
for
mean
me
more.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, the camera gear. So
And I focus on the color palette too, but also think about dual purpose items, like something that can be dressy or casual, something that you might wear. Um, I have some pajamas that I can wear. If I wear them out, they can, it has a nice top,
yeah,
which I could wear. Nobody would notice, but I know,
yeah,
but nobody else notice. If you just wear simple things, lots of times a simple like pullover dress or a
right.
black shirt or something with some, can spice it up with a scarf or jewelry, and then you look good, or the right shoes. I think those are the things that matter if you need to, if you want to be able to do that, but definitely dual purpose items make a difference, so you can wear it multiple times in multiple places. I see we have comment, and Sharon Ann is mentioning to pack the bathing suit in your backpack, not your suitcase, in case you lose it. And she's bringing up a great point. There are some things, I think shoes and a bathing suit,
Right.
very hard to replace. You don't really want to shop for that, those kinds of
Right.
things. So think about that. You can shop for a new top. You can
Yeah.
even shop for a new dress if you wanted to, but you might not want to shop for shoes. That can be complicated, as well as a bathing suit would be difficult to replace. So just if things can be replaced and they're nice to have, you could buy something else. You can, some of that you leave at home. I have a rule of, if it is just in case, it doesn't come. I don't bring any just in case items. I don't bring umbrellas. I don't bring extra medications unless I have a prescription. But if it's an over the counter medication, I very rarely bring it. I was sharing my first aid kit with April earlier. I have a little tiny first aid kit, and inside of it, I keep little Ziploc bags with 2 or 3 tablets of the Benadryl in case I have an allergy. There's some Advil here, and that's about it. There's not very many things. I don't bring an entire bottle. I bring enough to get through 24 hours. That's my rule. So if I have an upset stomach, or I got bit by a bug and I've got some sort of allergic reaction going on, I can take a Benadryl. But if I need it for 3 days, I can find a pharmacy. Even when I was in Vietnam, we found a pharmacy. My girlfriend got sick and we needed some congestion medication, and we were able to find something. But I mean, that was an adventure in itself, figuring out how to go
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
pharmacy and do that. So you don't, all those just in case items, don't bring it. You can buy it
Right.
if you need it.
Exactly.
Promise you, you'll be better off. Just likely that you won't need it, and so you'll save your money anyway. Save the space.
Right. But yeah, Sharon does bring up a good point about, it is hard to shop for a bathing suit or
Yes.
something like that. Again, like the hiking boots, that's why I'm gonna wear them.
Sure.
And if I, keeping what I need, that was the whole point of, traveling internationally. I don't want my bag to not make it. So if it
Right.
can go in the overhead and everything's with me, then I'm not getting delayed. I'm not like 3 days later missing half my stuff. I always, again, because you might get where they want to gate check something extra. I always try to have an extra something, like an extra t-shirt rolled up tight in the bottom of my backpack, or, an extra pair of leggings if they'll fit, something, and like one change of like underwear and socks. Because, you would feel more comfortable if you can change that, should you have
Right.
to go a day or two,
Without.
without. So those
Yeah.
are some good tips.
Definitely a benefit of the carry-on is you're not
Yeah.
going to lose your suitcase, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna have it with you. We talked about this before, about taking clothes that you can donate or discard, taking items along with you. This is a packing tip that we've shared for when you want to bring stuff home with you.
Yeah.
Not room in your suitcase. If you intentionally bring a pair of pajamas that are on their last leg
Yeah.
that you need to get rid of, when you're packing up and you need to put, that tchotchke that you couldn't leave at the shop, you can take those and you can either throw them away or find a place to donate those pajamas, or a top or a t-shirt, something like that, so you can leave some extra room. That's definitely an option, and I do that often. I think about especially loungewear or things like,
Yeah.
I don't really need this. I was thinking about getting rid of it. I'm going to take it with me and then toss it, right? Or donate
Right.
it. And then I'm
Exactly.
going to use that extra space on my way home. And then we've talked about travel sized everything. And we were talking about little bags. Please hunt for travel sized items.
Yeah, I promise you it's totally worth
Yes.
the opportunity to go over to your local drugstore, your beauty place, and go through their travel section and look for things that, you can keep reusing, whether it's a little container with a good lid that screws on,
Yes.
that's not going to leak, or even the small size, you know, um, aspirin or Advil or
Mhm.
ibuprofen, whatever it is. They have little containers. And once you go through that, just refill it from your big one, but please don't take your whole. Yeah, I always
Right.
just pack everything in the Ziploc. It's
Yes.
all gonna fit in here. Leave a little space. Most places keep your makeup simple. I
Yeah.
guess it depends on what kind of traveler you are, but
Right. Right.
A lot of
But
the
don't just take
hotels,
the stuff I use every day and bring it with you. Just minimize it down. Like, what can I get away with while I'm gone and not have to bring the entire bag of makeup? Because I
right?
mean, we all have us women, we all have kind of a go-to bag of things, but if I were to look at it, there's about 7 items I use on a regular basis. It's not everything that's in there. I sometimes dig to the bottom for 1 or 2 things, but those are those just in case items. Do I
Yeah,
need them? Probably not. So minimizing that and using travel size things, and look at the items that are the biggest. Think about those things. Like, think deodorant was one of the things. And I finally found, I think Target sells this little tiny deodorant container. And I really like that because it's instead of even the travel size ones of Dove or other ones, they're still pretty big. This one is really tiny. So looking for the smaller sized things. And if you like your own items, look for, bottles or containers that you can pour your favorite shampoo in
right,
that doesn't come in a travel size. You
right.
don't have to buy use that stuff. Just get a
No, you don't
container
have to
with your
use
favorite
the
stuff, right?
right. Yeah, you don't have to use the inexpensive brand, but maybe go look at the container and it's worth it to buy it for 99 cents, a dollar, and then empty it out and then
Yep.
put yours in. I mean, it's that dual purpose. What can small sizes, a lot of the hotels, inns, wherever you might be lodging, they're going to have things like soaps and lotions. And I totally get some people's skin, you need a certain product, but just figure out how you can take less of it. And it's
Yes.
amazing how little you really do need it
Right.
for 10 days, even 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And you can replenish. I mean, I traveled for months a couple of years ago, and when I was traveling, I just replenished those items, right? I didn't necessarily I didn't buy 9 or bring along 9 months of shampoo. I brought about 2 weeks of shampoo, and when it ran out, I replenished it because I wasn't going to carry that much around. That's crazy. That's a lot of stuff. And you can even have, purchase a little more and donate some of it along the way. It's really a lot easier to do. I definitely did that as well. Um, we have
Kim.
after every trip, lay it out what you didn't use. This is definitely something someone told me years ago, and it's a tip I use all the time. When I come back from a trip, I pull everything out of the bag and I sort anything that I didn't use where. I put it in a pile, and then I look at that pile like it's a little lesson. I'm like, did I really need to take it?
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's a
Yeah.
great lesson. And then make notes or keep a list. I know
Yes.
if there's places you go back to or similar type trips you do, like if you know that you take a 10-day trip and you go in the summer, you probably, like Sharon's comment about the swimsuit and going to the islands. She likes going to beach locations. She probably has a good idea of what she needs for those types of
Right.
trips. I see Kim made a great comment about traveling on motorcycles. I'm sure that's a ton of fun, and you get really good at packing like into next to nothing. But again,
Right.
making notes like what did we really need? I mean, I've packed in a carry-on too, and I get back and it never fails. There's something that was way at the bottom of the suitcase that never got worn, and it was like, well, what was that? Why did I even take the space to take it?
And we're all not perfect. I'll say when I took my train trip last summer, and I was 70 days and I was on and off trains the whole time. And I did a pretty good job. I had a backpack that I could carry. But about halfway through the trip, I decided that there's too many things in my bag. And so I just pulled everything out of my bag and laid it on the bed. And I just picked the items that I was like, I have it half of the trip. So 30 of the days or so were gone. I was traveling for 70. I'm like, I haven't used these items. I went to the post office. Got one of those boxes,
Oh,
the
yeah.
ship, and I shipped a small box of items home because
Good for you. Yeah.
I
You
was
were
like, I'm
tired
not
of
carrying
dragging it
these.
around.
Why am I
Yeah.
dragging it around? And I mean, I made the mistake. I mean, we all do it. Made the mistake of putting it in my bag, and I just shipped it home. I mean, why am I going to drag it another 30 days? And I want room to purchase things and, those kind of things. So my bag was pretty full. So I mean, we learned the hard way, unfortunately, of, you take it out of your bag, look at it and reassess
Yeah.
it, and then
Right.
update your list. If you have a little list, and I recommend getting a list or starting a list. Next time you take a trip, make a list of what you put in your bag, and then come home and reassess and make a note of what you didn't use so you don't necessarily put it in the bag next time. And think about how you can downsize those things.
Right. Exactly. What things really are most important, how you can make use of the space I know we talked about making sure that you store items inside other items. So again, really thinking about how things are packed. If you're taking, I always recommend having a second pair of shoes. Even when I've gone to New England, I have my hiking boots, but then I always have another pair of shoes to wear.
Mhm.
So if I'm just in the room or it's a day that I'm not, what if the hiking boots got really wet or something? I have another pair of shoes. But inside those shoes, I'm stuffing the extra socks, the extra underwear,
Yep.
rolling stuff up, maybe a hairbrush, whatever it is, make use of that space. So everything is in there. I use a ton of plastic bags. I know Sharon made a comment about liquids. I'm double bagging a lot of
Me
times.
too.
My Ziploc bag, I'm anything, even all the items, my clothes, I use a ton of I'm a big fan of like the zipper
Ziploc bag.
lock
Yeah.
bags. You can get them at the dollar store, you can get them wherever. And I'll roll the clothes in them. I really found you can really take the air out and then
Yeah.
everything's separated. The shoes are covered up, the clothes are covered
Mhm.
up. It keeps things cleaner. And
Yeah.
also you can, if you want to take tape and label it, if that helps like that's your jeans and that's your shirt. You don't I know some people like the packing cubes too. If that works for them, use
Yeah.
that. But you don't have to spend a lot of money on the items of how to pack.
No, no, it definitely helps that you do that. And I make little kits of things. So like I buy little bags or I collect little toiletries bags or whatever. And this is my little office kit. It's got pens and
Yeah.
pencils and whatever. And this is my kit for the bathroom. And I actually separate. I have two toiletry bags that I have. One which is the one to go wash up, and the other is the one to shower. And those are I bring both when I go to shower. But if I just need to, brush my teeth and wash up at the end of the day, I have a small one. And I
Yeah.
usually put that one in my bag on the airplane, like it's on my smaller carry-on, because I like to either on the plane before I
Yeah.
get off or as soon as I get off, I like to go to the restroom and kind of brush my teeth and splash water on my face. It feels good. So, but I like to have little kits and it helps me minimize things like this is a little kit for this and this is for that. And it keeps my suitcase organized and it makes me think about why I'm bringing everything because it has a purpose, right? I know
Right.
why this is in this item. I know I mentioned when you and I were talking to pile your necessities and nice to haves. I mentioned I don't bring just in case items. I don't do that. But sometimes when you're traveling, it's like, oh, I think I would like to have this extra scarf, or I might wear this, or whatever. Separate those things from the things you have to have. Pack in your bag everything you have to have, and then just start putting in the extra nice to haves because
Right.
those are the things that you could remove, right? You have to have it. And honestly, I sometimes have to pack my bag a couple times.
Oh, I
I
totally
shove
do.
it all in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit. I pull it back out. I look at stuff, throw that out. That isn't going. Pack it again.
If it's a
Get it in
longer
that suitcase.
trip or it's like a trip, like I said, to New England or Alaska, where I know the weather is going to be much colder than where I'm at right now, and those clothes are already need to be heavier, like a sweater and a
Right.
jacket and some extra layers. I totally start a week to 2 weeks ahead. I know it sounds crazy, but I literally
Thank
put the
you.
bag out, I pick the bag, and then I put everything in a pile that I think that and try it on, put it on.
Yes.
I think it's true even with like I say camera gear, don't buy a brand new thing without trying it. Same with clothes. Wear if you buy a brand new pair of jeans and actually haven't worn them, you may find the
You don't
day that
like
you
it.
pull out your jeans, everything fits different. You're going to be like, these aren't comfortable. These aren't good. So I've learned like put the clothes on and I take the ones I really want to wear that are comfortable, that are going to work. And those go in the suitcase. And then, like you said, there's always like, oh, I'd like to have that shirt maybe too. But then
Mhm.
start again. You got to start with the most important. As you get towards the end, you don't want the suitcase so packed that it's going to
Yeah, or
not
that it's
make
gonna
it.
knock you over. Because I
Yeah,
was thinking of that
exactly.
of the show Wild
So
with Reese Witherspoon, where she can't get up with
yeah,
her backpack. Like
exactly.
I don't want to do that. That's for sure. And you mentioned jeans, and then Sharon Ann asked what's the longest you've ever worn your jeans without washing? At least a week.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, do I want to tell the truth? But yeah, it's
At least a week.
at least
Uh,
a week. I mean, and I'm even, rain in New England, like I said, if it gets a little muddy, getting splashed, I just at the end of the day clean it off, hang
yep,
them up.
yep.
They're ready to go. But
Ready to
nobody can tell that you've had that pair of jeans on, honestly, for a
The other
week.
thing I will say is that I don't usually travel with jeans. So jeans are heavy. So if I'm going somewhere that's cold, I might wear or bring jeans, or if I really want them for whatever, the ambiance or whatever it is, wherever I'm going, I might want jeans. Then the jeans are what I'm wearing on the plane. But jeans are not comfortable on the plane, as you all know, and they're heavy. So if you roll up a pair of pants, khakis, something, just a pair of pants. I have other,
Right.
made out of a different type of material. I swear, you roll those up and you roll up your jeans, they're double the size. So if you need to wear jeans or you like to wear jeans, I suggest you bring one pair and alternate to some other types of pants. And same goes for men. I mean, I promise again, if men are wearing jeans and you're bringing 4 pairs of jeans, 4 pairs of jeans are going to take up twice the space as 4 pairs of pants.
Right. Exactly.
Of cotton pants or something like that. So definitely look at the size of the things you're taking. And it is also good to invest in. I've invested in a few of the light travel wear clothing, right? So I have a couple of tops and a couple of jackets that are specifically lightweight, intended for travel. I have pants that I took to Iceland that zip into shorts, which I really
Right.
like.
Yeah.
So they're dual purpose. They
I
go
was going to say that falls into the dual purpose. Exactly.
and they're kind of light. And then of course I wear in Iceland, I wore them with thermals underneath, but they were warm enough with or without, and they're comfortable and they're thin. So the material is really thin, and that material can be a little pricey when you're buying that. But it's definitely worth it. And so are those quick dry underwear. Absolutely.
Oh, totally
Invest
worth
in the
it.
quick dry underwear. If you're going to travel and you need to wash them out in the sink, those are absolutely worth the investment of having 4 or 5 pairs of those as well.
And you can do your research too and find the more expensive brands that do use thinner fabrics, and you don't have to buy them at full retail. Go
Right.
on eBay, figure out, go try it on at the store so you know your size, because sizing can change, is so different between all the different brands. But then once you know what size, what brand. I know I was on a trip with a girl that had a Columbia jacket that was really lightweight. It had the
Yeah.
reflective on the inside, so it was really warm. And she's like, "Yeah, just try it on." And so I did. And after that trip, I was like, "I'm
I'm
going on
fine with that.
eBay. I'm finding it the same size, whatever." Sure
I'm gonna,
enough, I found it on eBay for like half the price, a third of the price. People, we all buy things that we get, we don't wear, and we get rid of
yep.
them. So, it's
I
a
think,
great economical way that you don't have to pay a couple $100s for something. Go on eBay, there's a lot of sites that people
yeah,
are reselling their clothes.
and knowing what you want. I mean, I've said this for camping equipment because everybody goes, "Oh, go to REI," and sure, that's a great place if you have a pretty penny to spend on
Yes.
it, and the equipment is fantastic. But I am a big fan of going to REI and looking, talking to them, picking it out, snapping a few photos, and then go online, like you said, and go buy that
Yes.
item. Now that I know that that's the backpack I want, or that's the jacket that I want, start looking for it at a better price, because it's real. Those things you do need to touch and feel some of these things.
Right, you do. Right.
So there are lots of ways to do that, but I do think investing in a few travel specific things, you're really going to appreciate the fact that you have those things. And then I know Sharon Ann mentioned the pop tops and the things for using a screw top for liquids. I have really, because I travel so much, I really reevaluate all of my liquids.
Right.
I look for things that I can get in, solid form. So I do have a couple of, it's taken me years to find a shampoo bar and conditioner bar that I like. That took me forever. I've tried probably 30 different types and didn't like, but I finally found one that I like. Same thing with toothpaste, other liquids and stuff like that. Just, look at what your liquids are and decide whether it has to be a liquid or
Right.
do you really
Exactly.
need it. You know,
Right.
those are the things that you have to think about, because the liquids, not only is it you're minimized right on a carry-on to that little Ziploc
Yeah.
bag, but it's also messy, right?
Right.
So
It could
breaks.
potentially, she's right.
Yeah.
It could potentially be messy. And I have had things with the pressure. So it
Yep.
is good to be aware that it could happen. And that's why, again, I'm always double bagging, extra
Yep.
bags on things. And I'm not sure if it might pop, and leaving space in the container. If the container is full up to the top,
Yeah.
and you've used it many times, they do get old, which again is
Mhm.
why I'm always collecting new little throwaway containers because it will give out at some point on you. So
Yeah, yeah. So I think we've went past our half hour, and I think we answered the questions here. Katie mentioned something about shoes. Yeah, things that you can't replace, shoes and bras and other things. You want to make sure that you know, have those. And if you need extras, for sure. I think we've answered most of the questions, and hope we gave you some ideas on how to put it all in a carry-on. And if you have any questions, you guys can just shoot them to us, hit them in the comments, and we'd be happy to help.
yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. Great discussion. I saw some great tips and suggestions over in the chat too. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot of thinking about why, check the weather, and then just continue to, it's not, it's a process that you'll continue to
yeah.
learn and evolve from. And unfortunately, we're not getting younger. So things continue to get heavier, but we're
They do.
blessed with like so many amazing new fabrics and things that weren't available to us years ago. So
Right.
even
And
the suitcase weights have come down, just the sheer
yes.
weight of the actual bag. I can't imagine how you look at an old bag from the 60s and 70s. I'm like, how did they do it? There's no wheels. Like, I don't
They
know.
didn't carry that thing
I
around. It's
know,
crazy. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, and now as you go to country, you can see that you can purchase more of the same things. The world is getting smaller in that way as well. So, you know, the items that you can get here, you can get in Europe, and you can probably even get them in Vietnam and other places. They're just labeled a little different. So it's all available everywhere you go for the most part.
Right,
So just consider
exactly.
that. So I'm glad everybody could join us. We will talk to you. We're doing another one
We're doing
Monday.
another next week, Wednesdays nights, 6 o'clock. We have a variety of topics. We'll get that posted up soon. You can check the topics. I think we're getting them all on our website, which is The Travel Collective. And it's the with a dash, right, Cindy?
Yeah, the dash travel club.
Travelcollective.com. Like and subscribe here so you'll always know when we go
Yeah,
live. I know we're having a lot more lives and information coming to you. And we do every other week a coffee chat. We just had one, so it'll be not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. And it's
on
a
the
great
third.
time to interact with other travelers and chat. So thanks everyone for joining.